The boy screamed, not in fear, in shock. In the middle of the billionaire's marble garden, in front of guards, doctors, and cameras, 12-year-old Daniel Carter grabbed the arms of his wheelchair and pushed. Hard. His face twisted. His lips shook. His fingers turned white. Everyone froze. The billionaire, James Carter, jumped to his feet. "Daniel, stop. Don't hurt yourself." But Daniel didn't stop. Because something was happening. Something impossible. His right foot moved. Just a little. But enough. Enough to change everything. The barefoot girl standing in front of him froze mid-dance. Dust clung to her torn dress. Sweat ran down her dark face. Her chest heaved as she stared at his foot like she was seeing a ghost. She whispered, "I told you." The doctors rushed forward. The guards stepped back. The cameras shook in people's hands. James Carter's mouth opened, but no sound came out. For 3 years, his son had not moved. For 3 years, money had failed. For 3 years, hope had died slowly. And now, because of a poor girl dancing in his garden, his son's toe had moved. Just once. But once was enough. Daniel began to cry. "I felt it, Daddy," he sobbed. "I felt it move." James dropped to his knees. He grabbed his son's shaking hands. "Say that again." "I felt my foot," Daniel cried. "It listened to me." The girl stepped back slowly, fear replacing pride. She had said she could help him walk, but she never expected this. And she didn't know yet that this moment would either save her life or destroy it. 3 days earlier, no one noticed the girl when she first slipped through the gate. She was thin, dirty, barefoot. Her name was Lila. She had not eaten since the morning before. Her dress was once yellow. Now it was brown with dust. Her hair was tied with a broken ribbon she found on the street. Her eyes, though tired, were sharp, watching, studying. She stood outside the Carter mansion for hours, not begging, not stealing, just watching. She watched the guards, their patterns, their boredom. She watched the garden, the silence, the sadness, and she watched the boy in the wheelchair. Every afternoon at 4, he was rolled out by a nurse. He sat near the fountain. He stared at nothing. His hands rested uselessly on his legs like they didn't belong to him. Lila saw something in his eyes. The same thing she saw in the mirror when she still had one. Hopelessness. She whispered to herself, "I know that face." She waited until one guard walked away to answer his phone. She slipped through the side gate like smoke. She walked into the garden. The nurse didn't see her at first. Daniel did. He blinked. A girl had appeared where silence lived. She bowed suddenly, deep, dramatic. Daniel stared. Then she began to dance. Not pretty dancing. Not trained dancing. Street dancing. Wild dancing. Her arms swung like birds. Her feet slapped the ground. She spun too fast and almost fell, then pretended to faint, then jumped back up like nothing happened. Daniel blinked again. Then his lips twitched. Then he smiled. And then he laughed. The nurse gasped. She had not heard that sound in over a year. Lila danced harder. She made silly faces. She tripped on purpose. She acted like the fountain splashed her even though it didn't. Daniel laughed until his chest hurt. That was when the nurse screamed, "Guards!" Lila froze. 2 guards ran. They grabbed her arms. She didn't fight. She only said one thing, "Please, let me dance again tomorrow. He needs it." They dragged her out. Daniel cried that night. James Carter watched the security footage. He saw the girl. He saw his son laugh. And something broke inside him. The next day, James ordered, "Let her in." When Lila returned, the guards didn't stop her. She thought she was dreaming. She danced again. And again. Every day. Daniel laughed. Then he clapped. Then he tried to move his shoulders to her rhythm. Doctors said it was good for his brain. James said nothing. He only watched. On the 5th day, Lila said something dangerous. She stopped dancing. She looked at Daniel, and she said, "I can make you walk." The garden went silent. James stood up slowly. "What did you say?" Daniel stared at her. "Walk?" She nodded. "Not fast. Not today. But someday." James laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it hurt too much to believe. "I have spent millions," he said coldly. "Doctors failed. Science failed. God was silent. And you think dancing will fix him?" Lila's hands shook, but her voice didn't. "I don't have money. I don't have doctors. I only have what saved me." James stared. "And what saved you?" She swallowed. "Movement." That night, James ordered doctors to examine Daniel again. They found nothing new. No miracle. No change. James told himself he was stupid to hope, but he still let her come back. On the 7th day, Lila changed the dance. She slowed it. She clapped and made Daniel clap back. She lifted her knees and said, "Your turn." Daniel tried. Nothing. He cried. Lila knelt in front of him. "It's okay. Feet sleep sometimes. You wake them slowly." She tapped his shoes. 1, 2, 3. "Talk to them," she said. Daniel whispered, "Wake up." Nothing. James turned away. But Lila didn't. Every day, she tried again. She talked to his legs like they were children. She sang to them. She begged them. She danced for them. And Daniel never stopped trying. Until the day his toe moved. That was the day everything changed. That was the day James Carter stopped laughing. And that was the day people began to ask, "Who is this girl? Where did she come from? And what secret is she hiding that makes broken things move again?" Lila did not sleep that night. She lay on the thin mat behind an abandoned shop 2 streets away from the mansion, staring at the dark sky through broken wood. Her feet ached from dancing. Her stomach burned from hunger. But her mind burned hotter. The boy's toe had moved. Not imagination. Not trick. Movement. She had seen it with her own eyes. And that scared her. Because she knew something no one in that mansion knew. Something about Daniel. Something about herself. And something about the accident that ruined his life. At sunrise, she washed her face with water from a leaking pipe. She tied her broken ribbon again. She practiced slow steps in the dust, whispering, soft, gentle, slow. By noon, she was at the side gate. The guards let her in, but their eyes were different now. Not bored, curious, suspicious. James Carter waited in the garden with the doctors. Daniel sat quietly, nervous, hopeful, afraid. Lila stepped in. James spoke first. "What you said yesterday. You will explain." Lila nodded. "I don't know medicine. I don't know science. But I know bodies that give up, and I know how to wake them." Dr. Harris crossed his arms. "This is dangerous. False hope can destroy a patient." Lila looked at Daniel. Hope already saved him once. James lifted his hand. "Show me." She walked to Daniel. She did not dance wildly this time. She moved slow. She placed her hand over his shoe. "Don't force it," she whispered. "Ask it." Daniel closed his eyes. His lips trembled. "Please." "Nothing." James turned away again. Lila tapped his shoe lightly. "It doesn't listen to anger. It listens to kindness." Daniel whispered again. His foot twitched. Just barely. Dr. Harris leaned forward. Again. Another tiny movement. The doctor's face changed. That afternoon, James canceled 3 meetings. That evening, he ordered Lila food for the first time. She ate slowly, like someone afraid the plate might disappear. James watched her. You never told me where you learned this, he said. She swallowed. From someone who saved me once. Who? She shook her head. Not yet. James didn't push, but he began to investigate her. No school records, no family records, no address. She was a ghost. Daniel began therapy twice a day. With doctors, and with Lila. The doctors worked his muscles. Lila worked his spirit. She told him stories. She made him laugh. She made him angry. She made him try. Weeks passed. Daniel lifted his leg an inch, then 2, then 3. News leaked. A billionaire's son showing signs of recovery. Reporters waited outside the gate. James banned cameras. This is not a circus, he said. But inside the house, fear grew. What if it stopped? What if the girl failed? What if she was lying? One night, James called Lila into his office. Why do you care so much? He asked. She hesitated, then said softly, because once, someone like me danced for someone like him, and it saved me. James leaned forward. Who? She closed her eyes. My mother. James froze. You said she was dead. She is, Lila said. But before she died, she healed someone. James's chest tightened. Who? Lila whispered. You. Silence crushed the room. James stood slowly. That's impossible. She looked at him. You don't remember her, but she remembered you. James's hands shook. He remembered a girl from years ago, a dancer at a charity gala, a poor woman who made him laugh when he was broken from business failure, a woman who danced for him when he wanted to quit life, a woman who disappeared. What was her name? He asked. Lila whispered it. James staggered back. That woman saved me, he said. She saved me too, Lila replied. James looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time. And that was when he realized, this girl was not an accident. She was fate. But fate always comes with a price. The next morning, strangers came to the gate. Men in suits, not reporters. Businessmen, investors, rivals. They had heard whispers. A miracle. They wanted proof. James refused. That night, Daniel stood for 6 seconds. The mansion cried with joy. Lila cried quietly alone, because she knew what was coming. The world never lets miracles stay hidden. And when it sees them, it takes them. The day everything broke began with applause. Daniel took his first real step. Not far, not strong, but forward. James lifted him like he weighed nothing. Lila clapped until her hands hurt. The doctors called it historic. The guards cried. But someone else watched from outside the gate. Someone who recognized Lila. Someone who knew her past. And that someone made a call. That night, as Lila slept behind the shop, hands grabbed her. She screamed once, then silence. When Daniel woke the next morning, she was gone. He waited. She didn't come. He cried. James searched the city. No trace. Only a message left at the mansion gate. Miracles cost money. If you want her back, prove how much your son is worth. James stared at the paper and realized saving his son had just started a war. James did not go to the police. Not yet. He knew kidnappers who dared write to him were not ordinary criminals. They were organized. They were connected. They were watching. He ordered his private security to search quietly. Daniel refused therapy. He refused food. He refused to smile. She promised, he kept saying. She promised not to leave. James knelt before his son. She didn't leave you. Someone took her. Daniel's eyes filled with fire. Then get her back. James swore he would. 3 days passed. No word. On the 4th night, a video arrived. Lila sat on the floor of a dark room, her face bruised, her lip split. but her eyes still burned. "Don't stop," she said to the camera. "Don't stop his walking." Then the video cut. James broke a glass in his hand. Blood dripped on the floor. He whispered, "I will burn the world for you, girl." But what he did not know was that the people who took her were the same people who caused Daniel's accident. James Carter did not sleep. He sat in the dark office with the video paused on the screen. Lila's bruised face stared back at him, frozen in pain and courage. Every second that passed felt like another failure. He called one man, not police, not press, a man who made people disappear when money alone could not solve problems. Victor Hale. "You owe me," James said into the phone. Victor laughed quietly. "Everyone who calls me says that. I need a girl found, alive." There was a pause. "Send what you have." By morning, Victor's network had faces in every alley, every port, every illegal crossing. The kidnappers were careful. No phone pings, no known hideouts. But they made one mistake. They used a man James once fired, a driver named Marcus. Marcus had been greedy, careless. He sold information. Victor found him in a bar by the docks. Marcus cried before they even touched him. "She's in an old textile factory outside the city," he said. "They're not hurting her much. They need her alive." "Who are they?" Victor asked. Marcus shook. "I don't know names, but they caused that crash years ago. The one that broke your son." Victor's eyes narrowed. James arrived when Marcus finished talking. "The accident wasn't an accident," Victor said. James closed his eyes. "I knew," he whispered. "I just didn't know who." They moved at night. No sirens. No lights. The factory smelled of rust and rot. 2 guards stood outside. Victor's men dropped them quietly. Inside, Lila sat tied to a chair. Her eyes lifted when she heard footsteps. She didn't cry. She smiled. James ran to her and cut the ropes. "You came," she whispered. "I always will," he said. Gunshots exploded. Men rushed in. Chaos filled the building. Victor dragged Lila out while James fired back. A bullet grazed James's arm. He didn't stop. They escaped into the night. But freedom lasted only hours, because the men behind the kidnapping were not done. They wanted more than money. They wanted silence. They wanted Daniel. They wanted the boy whose healing threatened to expose everything. The next morning, the mansion gates were broken open by news vans. "Billionaire's son walks again. Miracle girl, abducted and rescued." James stared at the screens. "They know," he said. Lila stood beside him, pale but strong. "They won't stop." That night, Daniel was taken. Not from the house. From the hospital during therapy. Security was drugged. Cameras looped. One message arrived. "You took our girl. We took your boy. Now we're even. Or we end everything." James fell to his knees. Lila screamed. Daniel's wheelchair was found empty. James wanted war. Victor wanted strategy. Lila wanted to go alone. "They want me," she said. "Not him." James held her shoulders. "I won't trade my son for your life," she whispered. "You already saved mine. Let me save his." They argued until sunrise. Then another message arrived. A video. Daniel tied to a bed, crying. "Bring the girl," a voice said. "Or he never walks again." James broke. He looked at Lila with red eyes. "I'm sorry." She hugged him. "Don't be." She turned to Victor. "Take me." Victor shook his head. "You won't come back." She smiled softly. "Maybe, but he will." They drove to an abandoned highway bridge. The men waited. Daniel lay in the back of a van, alive, terrified. James stepped out with Lila. "Let him go," James said. They laughed. Girl first. Lila walked forward. James tried to grab her. She whispered, "Trust me." They took her. They pushed Daniel out. James ran to his son. Daniel screamed, "Lila." The vans sped away. James held his son and cried like a child. Victor tracked them, but they moved her fast. To a shipping yard. To a boat. To somewhere off the map. Lila sat chained below deck. She closed her eyes and remembered her mother dancing. She remembered James's face. She remembered Daniel's laugh. She whispered, "I won't break." Days passed. Food was little. Water was little. Pain was much. One man told her, "You shouldn't have made that boy walk. You made powerful men afraid." She smiled with bloody lips. Good. They planned to kill her. Not yet. But soon. Meanwhile, Daniel refused to move. He stopped trying. He stopped smiling. James begged him. Doctors begged him. Nothing worked. Until one night, James showed him Lila's ribbon. "She left this," James said. "She believed you would remember her." Daniel held it. He cried. Then he whispered, "She danced for me. Now I'll walk for her." He stood, not strong, not steady, but standing. James watched his son walk for the first time without help, and knew he would tear the world apart to save the girl who gave him that miracle. Victor found the boat. It was leaving port that night. James went himself, gun in hand, heart on fire. The docks exploded with sound. Shots, shouts, running feet. James found Lila locked in a metal room. He kicked the door open. She looked up slowly. "Did he walk?" she asked. James dropped the gun and hugged her. "He did. Because of you." She cried for the first time. They ran, but the men followed. Victor's men fought. James shielded Lila with his body. A bullet hit his shoulder. He didn't stop. They reached the edge. No more ground, just dark water. James looked at her. "Jump." She shook her head. "You can't." He smiled. "I already did, the day I trusted you with my son." They jumped. Cold water swallowed them. Men fired above. They swam. Victor pulled them out. They escaped again. This time, the kidnappers did not chase. Because police were coming. Because secrets were spilling. Because powerful men were falling. The men behind the accident were exposed. Bribes, crashes, cover-ups, all leaked. The world watched. James testified. So did Victor. So did doctors. So did people who were afraid no more. Daniel stood in court. Not perfect, but standing. "I walk because someone believed I could," he said. "And you tried to kill that belief." They were sentenced. Long years. Heavy chains. James took Lila home. Not as a guest. As family. Daniel held her hand. "You promised." She smiled. "And you walked." Years passed. Daniel ran. Not fast, but free. James smiled again. Not proud, but grateful. Lila went to school. She learned words. She learned science. She learned medicine. One day she said, "I want to heal people like my mother did, like I did for Daniel." James paid for her studies, but she never forgot the streets. She danced for children in hospitals. She danced for those who had given up. She danced for hope. On Daniel's birthday, he stood in the garden and said, "Once, a girl danced so I could walk. Now I walk so she can fly." They laughed. They cried. They lived. And the world learned one thing. Miracles are not made by money. They are made by courage, by kindness, by a girl who danced when she had nothing and gave everything.